Hey, this is Tony Mariotti, your luxury Los Angeles real estate agent, and today I'm in the Hollywood Hills. In this video, you'll see things about the Hollywood Hills you probably didn't know. A few things you must know if you're thinking about buying real estate here, like property restrictions. A few about the lifestyle here, in case you're on the fence about whether the Hollywood Hills is right for you. A little something for fellow history nerds, and even something strange about the weather here. Stay tuned. First up, property taxes. I know, and I'll make it quick, but it's important. There are annual property taxes and transfer taxes when you go to sell your home. And there's a third type of property tax that's uncommon in other cities, but happens in LA. I'll explain in a second. Annual property taxes in Los Angeles start around 1% plus voter-approved assessments. The thumbnail estimate I give to clients is figure about 1.25% of the property's assessed value. And then there's two kinds of transfer taxes. A transfer tax that everyone pays regardless of home price. It is 0.45% of the price of the home paid by the seller at close. Now what's different about LA is the mansion tax. The mansion tax gets added to the base rate. There are two tiers. For homes over 5 million, it's 4%. Properties conveyed over 10 million, the rate is 5.5%. You might be asking yourself, are all homes in the Hollywood Hills subject to a mansion tax? Not all, but some. The median price of all homes in the Hollywood Hills is around 3 million. This includes single-family residences, condos, and townhomes. Condos and townhomes run a little over 800 grand, and the median price of a luxury home is around 4 million, still less than the first tier of the mansion tax. Now you might be thinking, hey, I'll offset those taxes by Airbnb-ing my property. Well, not so fast. Hollywood Hills and all of the city of Los Angeles has short-term rental restrictions, and there are two main points to keep in mind. The property must be your primary residence, as defined by the place where you live more than 6 months of the year. Second, the property must be approved for residential use, and the good news is all of the Hollywood Hills is zoned residential. With these two main conditions met, being a host could be right for you. Are you thinking, gee, Tony, can't you say anything positive about the Hollywood Hills? Yes, I can. The architecture here is killer. Hollywood Hills showcases diverse architectural styles. Before 1900, the area was principally agricultural, so farmhouses were the norm. Then around the turn of the century, arts and crafts, or craftsman-style homes and bungalows came on the scene, of which one of them right behind me is a great example of a phenomenal craftsman home. Then, between 1908 and 1911, the motion picture industry moved from New York to Los Angeles, and along with the wealth came a demand for luxury homes, resulting in the popularization of period revival styles like Mediterranean, Spanish, and Tudor. These styles remained pretty steady between 1918 and 1942. Now, in the post-war period, mid-century modern came on the scene, and of course, contemporary homes. So where does one find all these architectural gems? Well, I don't have time in this video to take a deep dive on all of the neighborhoods. I'm going to link to a video at the end of this one that takes a little bit closer look at each part of the Hollywood Hills. But there are 3 classic Hollywood Hills neighborhoods that are worth taking a look at right now. These are great neighborhoods to check out the architecture here, and they ooze old Hollywood charm. The earliest neighborhood is Whitley Heights, developed in 1918, and it is home to several wonderful Mediterranean homes. It was home to the early Hollywood stars. Just above Whitley Heights is Outpost Estates, developed in 1924. It features Spanish, Mediterranean, and California modern styles. By the way, shortly after getting my license, I sold my first home in Outpost Estates, a gorgeous Mediterranean home with a massive backyard. If you're thinking about making a move to the Hollywood Hills or Southern California, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource. You can reach us at info@rubyhome.com or 323-678-9004. Lastly, there is Hollywoodland, which sits right under the Hollywood sign. All the aforementioned styles can be found in Hollywoodland, but it also includes a real special style, storybook homes built in the 1920s. These were based on English cottages and Tudor homes. A little trivia note, the Hollywood sign used to spell the whole word Hollywoodland. It was originally the advertising sign for the neighborhood put up by the developers. And of course, later the word land was removed and we now know it as the iconic Hollywood sign. Next up, HOAs. Because the Hollywood Hills was developed before the post-war expansion of suburbia, there are few HOAs here. which is great, no monthly HOA fees. This is quite different than a lot of the rest of the United States where there seems to be an HOA every 10 blocks. What you'll find more often in the Hollywood Hills are neighborhood associations where membership is voluntary. One thing that's constant in the Hollywood Hills, whether it's 1918 or today, is the weather. Now, why would I bring up weather when everybody already knows the weather in Los Angeles is amazing? Well, that's because there's something a little bit different about how the weather works in the Hollywood Hills. It's something I noticed years ago when I was cycling up to the Griffith Observatory one morning. The higher I went, the warmer it got. And this is like 6 a.m. when it started out very cool and then got warmer and warmer and warmer as I climbed. That's because the LA basin fills in with cool air from the ocean, particularly in the evening. As one climbs, one rises above the marine layer, and that's what's called a microclimate. The higher up you live, the more your weather will resemble the weather of the San Fernando Valley. As a matter of fact, when I check the weather each day, I'm looking at universal city temperatures, not downtown Los Angeles temperatures. It's not uncommon for the weather to be 85 degrees in the upper portions of the hills and still 75 degrees downtown. Microclimates or not, the weather here is predictably nice and it's easy to get outside all the time. Actually, before I suggest some places to connect with nature, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to subscribe. Hollywood Hills is a great place to live, especially for people who like to get outside on trails and paths. Griffith Park has 53 miles of trails. The Trebeck Open Space has a 3-mile loop, and Runyon Canyon has several loops ranging from 1 to 3 miles. And then there's Lake Hollywood Reservoir that has a 3.3-mile loop. My home turf for hiking is Griffith Park, which I access from any number of trailheads from Beechwood Canyon or Brush Canyon. All of my out-of-town guests, when they come, they know that hiking is part of the itinerary, and they're always amazed that we're in the center of a large metropolis, but there's this access to nature and all these wonderful trails and views. After some time outside, you might find yourself a little hungry. And the good news is, Hollywood Hills is just a hop, skip, and a jump from Little Armenia, Thai Town, and Koreatown. If you love Asian and Mediterranean food, you are in business here. And more broadly, Los Angeles is a culinary paradise. There are always steakhouses and California cuisine and reliable favorites like Japanese, Mexican, and Italian fare. You might even find yourself late at night indulging in some street fare like bacon-wrapped hot dogs. With this melting pot of cultures, the culinary options here are virtually endless. Before that wine is paired with your food and sipped, it obviously started out as grapes. And here's something you'd probably never expect. There's a wine vineyard in the Hollywood Hills. Hollywood Classic Vineyards sits on Mount Lee just next to the Hollywood sign, and it is 6 acres of vines. Established in 2001, it is one of 2 vineyards in Los Angeles, the other being Morega Estates in Bel Air. This is a reminder of the region's winemaking history and agricultural roots. Here's a mind-blowing fact. From 1910 to 1955, Los Angeles was the #1 agricultural county in the United States. I mentioned 3 enclaves briefly, but there are many more. In fact, 32 at last count. So if you're thinking about living here, here's a must-watch video about the best Hollywood Hills neighborhoods based on your lifestyle. Find out which is the best fit for you. See you in the next video.